presentation of the Ohio News Network and the Ohio High School Athletic Association. March Mania, Ohio's high school basketball championships.
Archbald kept it close in the first half of Thursday's semifinal, but Garaway used a patient and effective offense to pull away and post a win by 11 points in one semifinal. Eric Clemens threw a block party for Cincinnati Reading. 7 block shots and 19 points to lead the Blue Devils to victory. One of these teams will win their first ever state title. The Division III championship is next.
Now, the Ohio News Network and the Ohio High School Athletic Association present March Mania, Ohio's high school basketball championships.
It's Championship Saturday on the Ohio News Network as we bring you all 4 boys high school basketball state championship games live from the Value City Arena in Columbus. Hello everyone, I'm Douglas Sells, and now for the live play-by-play of the Division III state championship game. Let's go courtside and join Marty Bannister and Jay Burson.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. And Jay, this is the game today that features this Division III championship game, an inside matchup. A player for Reading who specializes in rejecting shots against a player from Garaway who specializes in making shots.
Sure, Clemens comes in here really as a good shot blocker, but also can play real well on the offensive end. You see right here on the finish on a dunk at the end of beating the press. Also, you see where he can also block the shot. This is one of 7 block shots on Thursday. And then nice post move inside for him.
And Tyler Renner from Sugar Creek Garaway is closing in on a state record in field goal percentage.
Yeah, when you talk about efficiency, you talk about Tyler Renner. He shoots 78% from the field, and you can see some of his moves right here. Triple teamed right here in the post, goes up and gets the shot to fall. And here's another move, goes over top of the defenders and the soft touch. He also can get out on the break and finish right here. He does a nice job.
Inside the Value City Arena, we're going inside in this Division III state championship game. Sugar Creek Garaway and Cincinnati Reading. Doug, we're looking forward to a pretty good game here today.
All right, thanks a lot, Marty and Jay, and we will be back for the Division III state title game right after this quick timeout. Welcome back to Value City Arena. I'm Douglas Sells. Let's take a look at how these 2 Division III teams got to the state championship game. Reading handled Columbus Bishop Hartley in the regional and then defeated Bedford St. Peter Chanel in the state semis. Top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway glided by Marion Pleasant in their regional before stopping Archbald Thursday to set up this afternoon's showdown in the state title game. Marty and Jay will have the starting lineups and the opening tip when we return to March Mania on ONN, where dreams become championships.
And you are looking at the Value City Arena inside the Schottenstein Center in Columbus. Championship Saturday continues here on the Ohio News Network. The Division III Boys Championship game. The top-ranked team in the state, Sugar Creek Garaway, takes on Cincinnati Reading. There's the Reading starting lineups, and the lineups are brought to you by Donato's Pizza. Certainly, we've talked a lot about Eric Clemens, but Jay Burson, Derek Hayden's a guy who takes a lot of the pressure off the inside on Clemens.
Sure does. He's a blue-collar guy, averages 10 points, about 6 rebounds a game.
And for the top-ranked team in the state, Sugar Creek Garaway, the Pirates are led by, well, a guy who is close to becoming the state's all-time career field goal percentage leader in Tyler Renner. But a lot of it starts on the outside with point guard Nathan Miller.
Yeah, Nathan Miller handles the ball, handles the pressure, and gets them into their offense.
John Regula also a force for the Pirates of Sugar Creek Garaway, averaging 12 points a game. The head coaches in this Division III state championship game on the right of your screen, Scott Bardall from Sugar Creek Garaway, who was battling a bit of the flu yesterday. And on the left is Rich Bensman, the head coach of Cincinnati Reading. Bardall's in his 4th year, and Bensman in his 10th year, guiding Cincinnati Reading's basketball program. The gentlemen who will officiate this afternoon's Division III state championship game, there you see them, Keith Goff, Robert Lee, and Thomas Burns will officiate this Division III title game. Already one championship in the books here in Columbus. Maria Stein, Marion Local. Wow, they won another state championship in a sport. The boys basketball team captured the championship, doubling up with their girls team, which won a state title a week ago here at the Value City Arena in Columbus. Jay, I think this game here today is a contrast in styles. One coach wants to make this game a half-court game, slow it down. That's Garaway. Cincinnati Reading wants to make this an up-tempo game.
Well, two very good coach teams. I really enjoyed the last couple of days getting to know these coaches. They both have different styles. As you said, one team wants to get it up and down, one team wants to slow it down. But they both have very good post players. They both really like to get it inside first on the offensive end and try to play that tough, hard-nosed man-to-man defense.
From a tempo aspect of this game, I think the first 2 or 3 minutes will be very key as the way this game is going to be played out. Tyler Renner is a guy from Sugar Creek Garaway that wants to set up inside and be a factor inside. Eric Clemens is going to match up with him in this game, but the tempo will be a big factor in this game.
Garaway thinks that to get a good win on this game, right here we see Renner right here. He's their post player. They want to get it inside of him. They think the tempo of the game needs to be in the 40s, the low 50s, where Reading thinks they want to get this game in the 60s, maybe even into the 70s. So two contrasting styles, but two very fundamental sound teams. Eric
Clemens and John Regular in the jump circle, and the opening tip is controlled by Cincinnati Reading, champions of the Cincinnati Hills League. They won that league at 12-2 unranked. First shot of the game missed by Derek Aiden, and underneath the ball slapped out of bounds and it belonged to Sugar Creek Garaway. Garaway, members of the Inter-Valley Conference, they swept to that league's championship at 16-0 and finished as the #1 ranked team in the state of Ohio. Garaway lost their first game of the season in 5 overtimes to Millersburg West Holmes, 76-74. They haven't lost since.
You see here Reading coming out with a tough man-to-man, trying to put pressure on the basketball, trying to get some turnovers, get out into the fast break.
Nathan Miller, Ari Yoder with it. Again, very patient. Ryan Gruber averages 11 points a game. He's the 3rd leading scorer.
We saw Reading come down, 1 pass, 1 shot. We see Garaway come here, already have done 10 or 12 passes.
Well, this is one of the keys, according to head coach Scott Bardall. We want to make Reading impatient with our offense. Regulus 3, too strong, and underneath, Aiden and Yoder battle for position, and the foul is on Ari Yoder, Sugar Creek Garaway. Well, that was a pretty revealing comment by Scott Bardall.
You see it right here, the open jump shot, just missed it. Good block out and a good rebound there by Aiden.
Jay, Scott Bardall talking about the fact that we want to make Reading impatient with our offense on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, they sure do. They want them to have to sit down and play defense.
Aiden spots up again, and his second attempt of the game is no good, and the rebound pulled down by Tyler Renner, who averages 8 rebounds a game. Regular on the run out, and Sugar Creek Garaway's on top.
Great look ahead. Both coaches talked about trying to get transition, but then being able to pull it out. Right there, they looked ahead and got an easy basket.
Regular averages 12 points a game. 6'5" senior, had 14 points in the semifinal win over Archbold. First 3-point shot of the game is up and good. John Gertz from Cincinnati Reading hits 34% of his threes and parries that one. And the Blue Devils have a 1-point lead.
Yeah, there we see they come out and loose. They've shot 3 jump shots, 2 3-pointers. They want to get the ball to the basket.
2 minutes into this Division III state championship game, and a 1-point lead for Cincinnati Reading. Semifinal wins for Reading over Bedford St. Peter Chanel, 70-61. And for Garaway, 70-59 over Archbold. In that game, Garaway shot 59%. Yeah, there you go. They had a possession in the win over Archbold that went 22 passes before a shot was taken.
If you kind of watch this offense, they try to keep 3 guys in the lane and kind of pick for each other, 2 guys on the perimeter, and move the ball around, obviously trying to get into the 2 better players, Renner and Regula, both left-handers inside. Pop them out, square him up, and make the pass.
Regula backing his way in, and on the 17th pass, we have a turnover. Garaway, as the team turns it over just 11 times a game. Clemens inside, battling for that lob feed from Aiden, put it up short, got it back, and we'll go to the free throw line. Eric Clemens, the 6'8" senior.
As you can see, he's got good hands in there. They're slapping at the ball, was able to get control of it. Right here, nice job. Went up strong, he got it blocked by the bottom of the backboard, but still stayed after it, went at it, and got 2 free throws.
Second foul on Ari Yoder of Sugar Creek Garaway. There are the block numbers for Eric Clemens, and he's rebounding as well, 8 boards a game. Yoder will check out of the Garaway lineup as entering his 5'11" sophomore Zach Fanning. Yoder in the semifinal game played just 7 minutes, picked up 2 personal fouls early in that game as well too, and has 2 fouls in the game's first 2+ minutes here today. Eric Clemens, a 55% free throw shooter. Makes it 5-2, Cincinnati Reading. Clemens is headed to Ohio University.
Reading staying in that tough man-to-man defense. They play 9 or 10 guys, so they feel like they can get out and pressure because they've got a pretty good deep bench. Where Garaway really only plays 5 or 6 guys, so they're a little more passive on the defensive end.
Nathan Miller. Back out high to Regula. Inside now Renner, who hits 78% of his shots on the season. Free throw line jump shot is good by Ryan Gerber.
Great job of Renner getting the defense to come to him, not forcing a shot, finding the open shooter.
And it's a 1-point lead for Cincinnati Reading. Nice wraparound dish by Clemens underneath, and we have another foul inside. Well, that was one of Scott Bardall's concerns going into the game. He hoped it would be a game where you could play a little bit inside and let some things happen. He didn't want his team to get in foul trouble because, Jay, as you talked about, they're not real deep.
Yeah, and that's what happens right here. That's why good teams take the ball inside and try to force the other teams to play defense and possibly foul you. Both coaches also talked about the character of their kids, and that was what was nice, that he said that they both are all unselfish, and we saw it right there.
Nice up and under move by Derek Hayden at his first bucket. He averages 10 points a game. And the lead at 3 for Cincinnati Reading. Nathan Miller picked up that Garaway foul just a moment ago, his first and the third team against the Pirates. Tyler Renner posts up inside and muscles to the glass and scores. Renner averages 19 points and 8 rebounds a game, but more impressively, Jay, hits 78% of his shots from the field.
You see why he does that, and you see why he's efficient. He does a nice job of pump faking and then getting into the lane and using that left hand, which I believe is an advantage.
Renner was third in the balloting for Ohio's Mr. Basketball Award this season. And is headed to the University of Akron on a baseball scholarship. Free throw line jump shot by Nicholas Berter, no good for Reading.
And Garaway got in the zone right there for the first time.
Skip feed to Gerber, thought about the 3, now will penetrate. And Aiden the rebound. One of the things that Scott Bardall talked about in facing Reading inside with Clemens, they don't go up against guys like that at the Division III level. Coming down the floor, Tyler Renner lost his shoe, which was recovered by official Thomas Burns along the far side. Eric Clemens and Cincinnati Reading have a 1-point lead over top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway in the Division III state championship game on ONN. 7-6 the score. Cincinnati Reading with a 1-point lead over Sugar Creek Garaway in this Division III state championship game. The third member of our crew today is Erica Robbins, and she's made her way into the Reading stands. Erica?
Thanks a lot, Marty. I am in the middle of the Reading stands, and I have found the people they call Mom and Dad. This is Rich and Mariana Benzman. The name sounds familiar. Their son is on the bench, but you have more than one son. Isn't that right, Mariana?
We have 3.
And how many children do you have total?
We have 10 altogether.
10 children. How many are here today?
Almost all of them, excepting we have one in England and one in Texas.
So there are 8 siblings here cheering for their brother, the head coach, and everyone calls you Mom and Dad. They all know you, right?
Right, that's for sure.
He's intense, that Rich. He's ready. Dick and Mariana cheering on Rich on the sidelines. Let's go back to Marty and Jay on the sidelines.
John Regula just put Sugar Creek Garaway ahead with a runner along the baseline. Derek Hayden tries to put Reading back ahead. Missed it, got it back. And they keep it alive out high. Gertz is free for the 3, and on the fight for the miss, Derek Hayden will be hit with the personal fouls. He tried to get position. Last week in the Girls State Championship, we met some folks from the Moeller family from Maria Stein, Mary Local. There were 83 of those folks in last week's game, and a handful up there from Cincinnati Reading.
We've had some great crowds here this weekend, so it's been terrific.
There you see the Garaway winning streak at 26 in a row after a 5 overtime loss in their first game of the regular season. Nearing the 2.5-minute mark, and a closely fought early game here, and we have a held ball. The possession arrow favors Cincinnati Reading.
Right now, the pace of the game, I believe, is right where Garaway wants it. They want to pass the ball around, take their time, because they don't quite have as many players, too, to run in there. They want to show the fundamentals. They want to show how they can execute on the offensive end and force Reading to play defense for long periods of time.
Rodney Stidham and Loris Burns check into the Cincinnati Reading lineup, and that was one of the things that Rich Benzman talked about prior to the game, Jay. When he puts his second stringers in at the guard spot, it tends to up-tempo the game a little bit in situations where things have slowed down.
He feels like his bench is a little more athletic, so he feels like they can get the ball up and down the court a little bit better, get some easier looks on transition.
We'll see if that substitution up-tempos the game. Renner inside the ball fake on Clemens and the basket.
Great high-low pass there. We talk about the triangle out top. seal the guy to the inside, and great pass over the top.
That was one of the comments about Tyler Renner. He does a great job of sealing his man off, and he had position inside and scored easily. A 6-0 run right now for Sugar Creek Garaway. And
you can see right here, 8-4, 8-2 actually on the points in the paint right here to start the game.
Under 2 minutes left, first period. Here's Clemens on the baseline, and Regula slides over. Renner was there as well, too, and Eric Clemens will go back to the free throw line.
Clemens right here showing his quickness, getting it along the baseline and going up and getting fouled, getting 2 free throws. You see it right here. I believe he's getting the shot blocked again by the bottom of the backboard, but he does get fouled.
Tyler Renner, picks up the personal foul. There you see Eric Clemens. As a team, Reading hits 61% of their free throws. Clemens, an honorable mention All-Ohio performer, transferred into Reading this past year from Cincinnati Marymount High School. Had a big performance in the semifinal games. He said he got a little tired as the season wears along. He said that the one thing that seems to follow his name all the time is transfer from Marymount. Hey, I'm at Reading now. Let's forget that Marymount.
Well, he certainly gave them a great presence inside this year.
2-point lead for Garaway. Clemens has 3 points and a couple of rebounds here early on for the Blue Devils. Renner inside again, just muscling his way, and a held ball. And the possession arrow favors Cincinnati Reading.
You see that discipline of Garaway. Taking the time, they've got solid guards that do a great job of looking right here. You see it again. He gets great position inside, holds his ground. I'm not so sure about the jump ball. Does a nice job of getting it up, but was called a jump ball and turnover.
Loris Barnes was the guard dropping down that time and helping out defensively. And out high, John Gertz spots and scores again. His second three of the quarter.
They're not afraid to shoot it. Garaway's sitting back in that zone, trying to keep the tempo, slow the pace of the game. But Reading's not afraid to shoot some tough up perimeter shots.
Gertz, who averages almost 6 points a game, has that here in the first period on 2 made threes and a 1-point lead for Reading. Regula looking inside. They're trying to get it back inside to Renner, but Reading doing a nice job of shutting off the lanes. Renner now with 40 seconds left in the period. Finds Regula for the left-handed baseline jump shot, and Clemens strong for the rebound for Reading. Again, things starting to get a little up-tempo now. Reading trying to push the issue. Gertz, is he 3 for 4 in this opening period? No. Clemens the rebound and muscles up to follow. Barnes battles inside on the baseline, and another foul.
And you see that athletic ability right there of Reading on the offensive glass.
Inside, and Tyler Renner's just picked up his second personal foul, Jay.
Yeah, you see it right here. Good pump fake. They need to keep the guys out of foul trouble. We talked to the coach earlier, and he said it really, Regula and Renner really don't get into foul trouble much, but he's got 2 here early.
And Loris Barnes at the line. 6'4" senior, averaging 8 points a game. Ari Yoder comes back into the lineup for Sugar Creek Garaway, replacing Tyler Renner with 2 personal fouls. The co-player of the year in the state of Ohio, Division III, Tyler Renner, forced to take a seat on the bench.
Well, here Barnes comes in on Thursday, gets 10 points in only 19 minutes. He's that athlete type that comes off the bench for them that allows them to get more up-tempo game.
Rich Bensman using the opportunity with Renner out of the game to set Eric Clemens down and give him a breather as well, too, with 20 seconds left in the period. Barnes with the made free throw and the lead at 3 at 13-10.
Taking their time right here, going to get the last shot here of the first quarter.
Reading has answered the Garaway 6-0 run with one of their own. And a turnover along the baseline as John Regula stepped along the baseline. And the basketball goes back to the Blue Devils of Cincinnati Reading. There you see Rich Bensman. He's a Mike Krzyzewski disciple. He was a big thrill meeting him at a clinic earlier. 2 seconds left of the period. Gertz a half-court heave. He traveled prior to the shot. So with a 1/10 of a second left, Sugar Creek Garaway will get the basketball back.
When Bensman talked about what offense he likes to run and talked to Krzyzewski about, he actually likes to run a motion flex combination where it's got some principles that they have the guys do, but then also have some motion things.
1 period in the books. Cincinnati Reading using the perimeter power of John Gertz, who's knocked down a couple of threes in this first period. They go to the second quarter with a 3-point lead over top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway, 13-10. Gertz with a half dozen.
Here in Ohio, Friday night means high school sports, and ONN is the site. Every Friday night at 11:30, ONN has your only complete statewide wrap-up of high school sports on High School Sports Site Friday night. Get all the scores, all the news, and all the action live. In Ohio, Friday night means high school sports site. Don't miss it, Fridays at 11:30 p.m. And catch the rebroadcast Saturday morning at 6:30 and 9:30, only on ONN, Ohio's channel for high school sports.
The Ohio High School Athletic Association Basketball Championships brought to you by Grange Insurance, by the Ohio Education Association, and by Columbus State Community College. 3 lead changes in that first quarter here at the Value City Arena in Columbus. Back along with Jay Burson, I'm Marty Bannister, Erica Robbins, Doug Lascelles, and Dave Sacuti are all part of our coverage of Championship Saturday here on the Ohio News Network. Certainly, let's don't forget Tim Bray and Ronnie Stokes. They'll be coming back at 5 o'clock for Akron St. Vincent St. Mary and Kettering Alder for the Division II State Championship. But we'll decide the Division III title here for you at the Value City Arena. 3-point lead for Cincinnati Reading as we start period number 2.
Here comes the passes per possession. As you can see, Reading comes down and shoots it pretty quick. Where Garaway wants to pass it around, try to get the ball inside, get the double team, and either make the shot or kick it back out for an easy open jump shot.
Well, the only thing they seem to be missing on the sideline is Gene Hackman. 4 passes before we shoot, fellas.
Well, we know that Cincinnati, more of a city school, comes with some of the guys that are a little bit in Garaway, the old farm boys, and have fundamentals and old Hoosiers right here, taking care of the basketball.
It has certainly worked wonders for them at 26-1. Renner inside, leans it on Aiden and scores.
And see, there it is. Again, high post to inside. 20 passes right there on that possession.
That snapped a scoreless span for Garaway that had extended over 2 minutes. And they get to within a point at 13-10. Renner averages 19 points a game. And with Clemens out of the lineup right now, they went inside right away to Renner. Well, right away after the 19 passes. Barnes penetrates, and the one-hander in the lane is pulled down by Nathan Miller. Good hustle defensively by Gertz, who forces the basketball back to Cincinnati. Reading did a nice job of getting in front of John Regula that time.
Yeah, he did. He jumped up, got his hand on the ball, and knocked it off of Regula. Both teams right here have started out the second quarter in man-to-man. I know we talked to both coaches. They really want to play man-to-man predominantly, but will sometimes go in the zone if they feel they need to.
4th turnover for a team that averages 11 a game in Sugar Creek Garaway. Here's Aiden trying to cross over into the lane, and a tough look in the paint, and he scores off the glass.
Yeah, great move there. Just kind of bullied him down inside. Renner has 2 fouls, didn't want to foul him. Good move right there.
The lead back to 3 for Cincinnati Reading. Averaging 60 points a game. Garaway averages 57 per outing. The high for Reading this year, 76 against Cincinnati Indian Hills. Aiden with a nice job defensively, slapping the ball away, and another held ball. And the possession arrow favors Cincinnati Reading.
You can see both teams here very competitive, and that's what I've liked about the teams. I like the demeanor. Here you see the hustle right here, getting on the floor after the basketball. We mentioned it earlier, the coaches talked about the character and the kind of kids that are on the team. Not only good players, but will do whatever it takes to win. Unselfish basketball, and you see it right there, getting on the floor, giving up his body to try to get possession.
Eric Clemens is back into the Cincinnati Reading lineup as John Gertz takes a seat for the Blue Devils. Second appearance in Columbus in the state tournament for Cincinnati Reading. They were here back in 1978 when Ohio was split into AAA, AA, and A. They were in the AA semifinals and lost to Cleveland Cathedral Latin in the AA semis. And the basketball goes back to Sugar Creek Garaway for Sugar Creek Garaway, their first ever appearance in the state tournament in Columbus for the school located in Tuscarawas County, about 20 miles southwest of Canton.
Here we can see the turnovers, 5 on Garaway, only 3 for Reading. We talked about that, Maury. A chance for one of these teams is going to get a state championship that neither team has actually never even gotten to the final game. So there'll be some excitement here in about an hour.
Regula with it out high, looks left side for Zach Fanning, 5'11" sophomore.
There's that high-low again.
Yep, Renner to Regula and the bucket.
Renner and Regula both have that size, 6'6", 6'7", so they not only can post up inside, but can get it to each other as they can look over the top and make those nice perimeter passes.
4 points for John Regula, who averages a dozen a game, had 14 in the semis. And Renner comes away with those ball in the lane.
Reading right now still once in a while, I think, settling for the perimeter shot. Not looking real comfortable, want to get the tempo up, but you can't always settle.
Gerber trying to put Garaway ahead, missed the runner off the glass, and Redding runs back with it. Rodney Stidham penetrates. Clemens being guarded momentarily by the 5'11 Zach Fanning. They double down on him this time. Renner and Nathan Miller, and Clemens finds a gap and scores.
Very nice move right there. We saw that, talked about that in the opening. His ability in the post on the offense then is very good.
John Regula has lost a contact lens. Here's the last basket.
You can see it right here. They got help. He's got double teamed. They're grabbing him, holding him. Makes a nice move, nice touch off the glass.
There's John Regula. He got hit around the eye on that last offensive possession and had the contact lens come out and got it back in and is ready to play. 3-point lead for Cincinnati Redding.
Both these teams like to go inside. We talked about it too. Garaway right here. Here they go. Pass it again. They've got 12 of their 14 points in the paint tonight. So this team wants to really get the ball inside and not settle for perimeter shots.
Goes in, jump shot by Fanning, doesn't go, but Gerber the offensive rebound and the follow.
Nice
Ryan Gerber averages 11 points and 4 rebounds a game. Brings Garaway back to within a point. Here's Hayden on the crossover and into the lane and the basket. Derek Hayden averaging 10 points a game. Lone returning starter from last year's regional finalist.
He's done a nice job. Nice pump fake there and took it to the basket.
Averages 10 points a game. Just Hayden has 6 here in the first half and a turnover. Nicholas Berger pushes the ball ahead for Redding. Rodney Stidham will spot and launch the 3 and goes glass.
We had the perfect angle on this one. There was no way that's going in. And it kicked off the glass and went in.
Well, it's funny now after what happened at the Big Ten tournament. Anytime anybody banks in a shot, the first words to come out of everyone else's mouths are Charles Bass.
Yeah. Well, we see right here too, and we talked about it. Redding has gone 9 deep already here in the first half. Been able to bring some subs in.
Renner negotiating his way free inside. Strong move by Tyler Renner.
Well, we can see where he shot almost 80% from the field. He gets great position inside and got a very nice touch.
Tyler Renner is a standout baseball performer as well, going to the University of Akron. Some folks say he could be a first-round draft pick. He's a pitcher who can throw it 90 miles an hour, and if he throws it with the accuracy that he shoots it, he's going to be a rich young man here pretty soon.
Well, the touch he has, and they talked about, he only really plays basketball 4 months of the year. The rest of the time he plays baseball.
Hayden's jumper too strong, and the rebound pulled down by Ryan Gerber, the 6-foot junior.
Another perimeter shot right there. I think that Redding does such a great job when they get it inside first that they make things happen. Sometimes they've settled here for some open outside shots, but just haven't been able to knock them down. I'd rather see them go inside first.
Nearing the 2-minute mark of the second quarter and a 4-point lead for Cincinnati Redding. Nice backdoor cut by Fanning. The reverse is high off the glass and down.
We're talking Hoosiers. Another great move right there. Back cut. Keep the guys out high. Spread the floor. Let the guy go backdoor for a great layup.
First bucket of the game for Zach Fanning, and it's a 2-point lead for Cincinnati Redding. The Garaway fans are making some noise here in this first half. Perimeter ball movement. 3 out high silences the Garaway crowd. Tony Pike, a 6'4 junior who hits 45% of his threes, calmly strokes at the top of the key.
Well, right now, Garaway's playing kind of a soft man-to-man, trying to help out on Clemens inside. They've been fortunate that they have not made a lot of three-pointers, but they certainly have been open.
Pike averages almost 5 points a game, and his 3 takes the lead back to 5. Here's Gerber spotting. And inside, Clemens the rebound. 4th rebound, 5th rebound in the half for Eric Clemens. They go back inside to Clemens now underneath, leans in on Regula. Aiden the one-handed stick back.
Aiden gets great position there on the weak side. Gets a nice tap in.
27-20, a 7-point lead for Cincinnati Redding. Just as Garaway got to within a bucket, Redding's been able to answer with a spurt of 5-0.
They knock down a three-point shot, open three-pointer. Then they go inside, make things happen. They get the help side to come and get a nice tip in.
Largest lead of the game for Cincinnati Redding. Garaway, this is no big stretch for them right now, spreading the floor. This is something they do with regularity and with success. Regular outside, have it knocked away. Renner with 3 seconds left. Spots, launches. And that will do it for the first half of basketball in the Division III state championship. Cincinnati Reading holds a 7-point lead over Sugar Creek Garaway, the top-ranked team in the state of Ohio. Coach Rich Bensman says every year, someone or every game, someone has stepped up for us. They've got contributions off the bench from Rodney Stidham, Tony Pike, and a big first half from Derek Aiden with 8 points to lead the Blue Devils of Cincinnati Reading. An 7-point lead for Cincinnati Reading. Let's go to Erica Robbins.
Marty, I have Rich Bensman, head coach of Cincinnati Reading. You have your biggest lead of the game going into the locker room at the half. Are you happy?
Yeah, I think the kids are really sticking to what we talked about doing real well, and they're thinking tonight a little bit, not only playing hard, but they're thinking too. And so we're doing some things defensively, I think, to stop what they like to do offensively. And you know, we need to sustain it for 32 minutes, not just 16, and we talked about that. So it worked well for the first 16. We can see what happens here this next 16. I'm sure they're going to try to make some adjustments and maybe come out a little more aggressively and do some things. I don't know, but we got to be prepared for some adjustments also.
Okay, Rich Bensman heads to the locker room. His team makes a few adjustments only at the half, tries to keep the advantage. We'll take a short break and be right back. We are live at Value City Arena for the Division III state championship game. Thank you for telling me.
How can you know you're safe from a storm? Where can you get the latest forecast for your Ohio town anytime? ONN is Ohio's only local source for weather updates every 10 minutes, every day. And only ONN has Ohio DopplerNet. DopplerNet combines the most powerful radar sites in Ohio with the most sophisticated forecast technology to predict severe weather down to the street, down to the minute. Know you're safe with Ohio's most advanced and most convenient local weather forecast. DopplerNet weather on the 10s, only on ONN.
I'm Erica Robbins, and we are live at Value City Arena for the Division III state finals. Reading up by 7, 27-20. Head coach for Sugar Creek Garaway, Scott Bardall. What changes did you make since you're down by 7?
We're just going to have to do a better job at the offensive end of making them work harder defensively. They obviously have tremendous firepower. They're shooting the ball well. We just have to do a better job of keeping them off the defensive boards, being more patient at the offensive end. We've proven we can hit the shot and we can get shots we want. We got to work a little harder at being patient with it.
All right, we'll see if those adjustments work for Scott Bardell and his team. Let's go back to the table courtside to Marty Bannister and Jay Burson.
27-20 is Cincinnati Reading's advantage over Sugar Creek Garaway. Game's high scorers at the intermission for the teams playing for this Division III state championship game. Tyler Renner inside for Garaway.
Yeah, great move. He's proven that he can score and get it inside. Right here, another nice move. Up fake, goes over the top.
Has 8 points in the first half, and for Reading, it's Derek Aiden with 8.
Yeah, Aiden, again, he's come out and done surprisingly well inside. Got a couple nice offensive rebounds, nice move right here. Got his body on him, was able to finish.
And the numbers from the first half. 3-point shooting and free throws stand out, Jay Burson.
Yeah, 5 for 6 for Reading from the free throw line. 0 for 0 for Garaway, and you see they've knocked down 4 3-pointers. That's how they've gotten the lead.
Cincinnati Reading used a big second period shooting the basketball and open up that 7-point lead. 3 of 12 in the first period, but 6 of 10 in the second quarter shooting the basketball. Garaway was 5 of 8 in the first period, 5 of 9 in the second period, but turnovers playing a factor in this game as well, too. Half dozen for Garaway. They averaged just 11 a game and just 3 for Cincinnati Reading.
Well, and Reading's been done a nice job on the offensive board. They've been able to get some putbacks where Garaway has struggled. Only has 1 offensive rebound. Another thing that Reading has done nicely, they've finished off the quarters real well. The last 3 minutes of each quarter, they've outscored them 11-6, so they're finishing the quarter strong.
Both teams with the same 5s that started the game start the second half. Renner, Regular, Gerber, Miller, and Yoder for Garaway. Clemens, Berter, Hammersmith, Aiden, and Gertz for Cincinnati Reading. Ryan Gerber, who in the first period had 4 points. Nathan Miller. Gerber has it on the left wing. They go inside to Renner on the baseline. Nice look underneath for Nathan Miller, who got hammered from behind by Hammersmith.
Great cut there. Look on the opposite side. Here we see it. Got hacked on the arm. Coach Bardall talked about it. He thinks his team offensively has done a nice job. Just needs to be a little bit more patient, maybe handled the ball a little bit better, had 6 turnovers there in the first half.
Second team foul of the game against Cincinnati Reading, and that's a rather interesting number. Jay, you talked about it a moment ago, really good at the stats.
Yeah, you need to really take the ball to the basket to be able to get fouls. Another great pass right there.
Absolutely, that high-low again. Regula to Renner. And they are used to seeing that at Garaway. Those two have combined to have great careers, between them averaging 32 points a game and 13 rebounds. Aiden spots up out high, chases down his own miss, though, on the baseline. But was standing on the baseline, and the basketball will go back to Garaway. Good hustle by Derek Aiden.
With this low scoring of game right here, Garaway wants to keep touch, and that was a nice play. They got it inside there, knocked it down to 5 points, and now have the ball back here, and a chance to cut in the lead a little bit more.
Nathan Miller being hounded in the backcourt, and there's another foul. Hammersmith again. And that's the second team foul of the quarter. In fact, the first minute compared to 1 in the first 16 minutes of play.
Well, we've talked about it all afternoon. Garaway likes to get the ball inside. They've scored now 20 of their 22 points inside the paint. They really like to pound inside, and they're efficient doing it.
Nathan Miller brings the ball to the floor, a guy who Scott Bardall calls the consummate point guard. Doesn't care about anything but wins and losses. Miller, we watched in the semis, not afraid to get out his teammates and tell guys where to go. In fact, he got right in Renner's face after one errant possession on Thursday, and they went over Archbold and told the big guy, you need to do this, you need to do that. Renner listened and finished with 36 points and 10 rebounds. Derek Aiden working with the basketball. Cincinnati Reading. A long three by Kurtz, his third three of the game, and he no conscious at all. That's about where you used to shoot him, Jay, wasn't it?
No, that was deep there. And we talked about Reading. They're not afraid to shoot that, and they knocked down some three-pointers in the first half.
Largest lead of the game now belongs to Reading at 8 points. And they've been converting on mistakes by Garaway, Jay.
You see right here, 13-4 on the turnovers.
Nathan Miller tries to find his way free. Gerber recovers to the near side. Bumps bodies with Gertz to the baseline, and Gertz will be hit with a personal foul, the 6-foot junior. The personal foul.
And Gerber gives him a nice perimeter threat.
And that will take us to a timeout. 5:50 remains in this third period. Cincinnati Reading with an 8-point lead over Sugar Creek Garaway in the Division III title game.
I'm Erica Robbins along with Kevin Keffer, Athletic Director for Sugar Creek Garaway. Let's talk about those black armbands that the players are wearing, and they also have black on their uniforms. What does that symbolize?
Well, we had an assistant coach, Glenn Lorenz, who's 38 years old, who died of a massive heart attack this season, and obviously was very close to our kids. He owned a local pizza shop, and he was just very much involved in our community and our kids. He was a volunteer fireman, and the loss of him was just devastating. He was actually in college classes finishing his education degree to teach, and he just had a massive heart attack in class. And he was very, very close to these kids. He fed them regularly and coached them, and just was a great loss to our community.
Glenn Lorenz, an inspiration for these kids from Sugar Creek Garaway, and that's why they're wearing those black armbands. Let's go back courtside to Marty Bannister.
Ari Yoder with the baseline drive and the basket to bring Garaway to within 6. Within 10 days of that tragic loss of Glenn Lorenz, a member of the Garaway team, 5'10" senior Brian Lash, was involved in a serious sledding accident and almost cost him his life. He was able to battle back and get back to playing status, back with the Garaway program. They had to deal with the death of Glenn Lorenz and then the near death of Brian Lash, all within a 10-day span back in late January.
Certainly make you realize the priorities, and that's what this team, I think, has done. They've been able to balance basketball and some other things going on.
Close call inside. Tyler Renner, I think for a moment thought he'd pick up his third personal foul, but it's an offensive foul on Derek Aiden.
That's the first turnover for Reading here in the last 10 possessions. They've been able to take care of the basketball. Now Garaway has a chance to cut into that 6-point lead.
5-minute mark of period number 3 of this Division III state championship game. And a 6-point lead for Cincinnati Reading, located on the north side of Cincinnati. Northern suburbs. And another foul. John Gertz talked to you about Brian Lash, and he's got Bardall there with the Garaway Pirates, and Brian Lash back on the bench. And Just a very tough situation for the folks from Garaway to deal with, but they made it through all of that. Inside, Renner makes his way between Aiden and Clemens and scores.
Great move. Very patient. A lot of guys get inside like that and want to go real fast. He got his balance and was able to finish. That's why he's so effective.
Lead down to 4, and on the baseline, a travel. As Berger went airborne with nowhere to go with the basketball. In fact, a foul was called. Ari Yoder picks up the foul. Initially, we had a travel call, but the foul was called immediately thereafter on Ari Yoder, and that's his third. But Reading turns it over on the inbound. Miller ahead to Renner with it. Has to be careful with 2 fouls. Elects to pull up, and a whistle on a foul on the fight for the miss. And on the scramble for the loose ball.
And we see it right here. We talked about Garaway likes to look ahead a little bit on that slow transition. Tough shot, and we got a foul called inside.
Ari Yoder just picked up his 4th personal foul. So he's forced out of the lineup. With 4:19 to go, third period, Zach Fanning comes back in. And the lead remains at 4 for Cincinnati Reading. Changes for the Blue Devils at the next dead ball.
Both teams staying in that man-to-man defense. Both teams have very solid guards. Handle the basketball very well. Look inside.
Regula able to reach around. Eric Clemens on that lob feed and punch the basketball away. And Garaway looks to get closer, down 4.
Garaway keeps hanging around. They wanted the slow tempo of the game. They want to be in the game the last 2 or 3 minutes and be able to execute. They think that's when they can get a victory.
Boy, nice catch by Renner inside and tried to shovel it back to Regula, but by that time, a 3-second call. So the turnover gives the basketball back to Cincinnati Reading. The Blue Devils hold a 4-point lead over the Pirates at Sugar Creek Garaway. The Division III state championship game continues on the Ohio News Network.
Back in the Reading crowd, and I've found Dave Ramsey and Jerry Overbeck, their sons play, but these two gentlemen were on the 1978 semifinalist team. That's the last time that Reading made an appearance in the state semifinals. How cool is it that your son Andrew is on this team?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's a great opportunity. It's something, that you'll remember forever. We still talk about it 25 years later, so I'm sure he'll do the same.
And you hold it over your son's head, isn't that right, Jerry?
Yeah, we've been playing basketball since he was a wee kid. I've been coaching him, and I told him, you ain't nothing until you can beat the old man. We went to state, and gosh darn it, they finally didn't do it.
So Jeremy Overbeck and Andrew Ramsey getting some hassles from their fathers, but they're up here cheering them on. Let's go back to Marty and Jay at the sideline.
I bet those are some pretty good games in the driveway there of the Overbeck family.
Great stories. Those are great. And you talk about plays and things that happened 20, 25 years ago like it was yesterday. That's great father-son stuff she had there.
Derek Aiden had a big first period. In fact, he and Eric Clemens combined for 13 points. So far here in period number 3, they're scoreless. That shot won't count as we have a whistle to foul underneath. Nathan Miller was dropping down defensively on the lob inside to Clemens, and Miller got hit with the foul.
You see it right here. Nice look inside. Got it strong, but got slapped down low. Get the ball out of bounds.
Second on Miller, and that's the 13th foul against Garaway.
Reading, after having 9 times not turning it over, has turned it over the last 3 times here. Another good
rebound by Aiden. The turn is blocked, partially going airborne, and Tyler Renner was inside defensively. This one, though, will be on Gerber, who was in the area as well, too. And again, the strong rebound.
Yeah, Aiden's really showed up here this afternoon. He's gotten a lot of rebounds on that backside and gone up strong.
Aiden had 7 points and 6 rebounds in the semifinal. There are his numbers today, and the first point of the second half for the Clemens-Aiden combo. And we're in that zone right now, Jay, where Reading was able to take charge of the game in the first half.
Yeah, Reading's been able, and we talked about a little bit earlier, that they finished off the quarters very well. The last 3 minutes of each quarter, they've won by 5 points. So now we're going to see here what they can do here in the third quarter to maybe extend their lead, or Garaway can get back in this game a little bit closer.
There's what Jay was talking about right there. The 11-6 run at the end of each of the first 2 quarters. The lead now stands at 6. Regula, baseline to Fanning. Renner at the free throw line. Gerber turned away on the baseline. Loris Barnes is back in for Reading, now wearing number 1 for the Blue Devils. Regula spots up for the 3. And the rebound into the hands of Gertz. Regular coming into the semis and made just 8 threes all season, but knocked down 2 in the win over Archbold. Here's Barnes trying to leave it for Clemens, who able to recover the loose ball. Spins on Renner, and the rebound pulled down by the 6'6 senior Tyler Renner. His 4th of the game. He had 10 in the semis.
Well, we've seen with this Garaway team, they really only have 3 guys that can score. Their 2 guards really look to pass, distribute, handle the basketball, and find the big guys inside.
Regular on the baseline over Ayton for the jump shot.
He's had some open looks. That's really the first one that he's knocked down here recently.
John Regular headed to Mount Vernon Nazarene, and a turnover. The basketball goes back to Sugar Creek Garaway. Rich Bensman's team turns it over just 13 times a game. And that miscue there, their 7th of this state championship game.
Garaway keeps hanging around here. You think Reading's going to make a big push, but Garaway hangs around, takes her time, gets some open shots here on the offensive end.
Reading in the semis turned it over 20 times. There you see it.
Yeah, Reading right here, 4 turnovers this quarter. It's only 2 for Garaway. That flip-flops what happened there in the first half.
Gerber being hounded by Barnes. Nice high-low look inside. Clemens comes gliding over and blocks the shot, but also picks up to his disbelief a personal foul.
It was clean up top, but he did get him with somebody down low. Get a chance to take a look at it here.
Well, watch the recovery time by Clemens, too.
Great pass over the top. Oh, he comes from nowhere. All ball up top, but just his momentum landed right on top of him. Another great look. We talk about those 2 guards that really do a great job of passing it into the post, either on the floor or even looking above the top. There's another good pass.
Clemens, who blocked 7 shots in the semis, 95 on the season. And Renner at the line, where he's a 77% free throw shooter.
We saw right there, Renner 6 for 8 from the field. The guy's going to lower his field goal percentage for the year.
Trying to eclipse the state mark of 60% as a career field goal percentage held by Alan Portercrax, who played at Delphos St. John's back between 1980 and 1982, and also played right here in Columbus at Ohio State. The free throws by Renner bring Garaway to within a basket at 32-30.
First time we've really heard the fans try to get into the basketball game.
Gertz being hounded out high by Fanning and Gerber. Ball tipped away. Clemens recovers. Hounded inside by Miller and Regular, and a jump ball.
Garaway, that's the first time I've seen. They came out and did some double teaming. Caused them to throw it inside and get a jump ball.
Reading will keep possession. Loris Barnes will inbound it, as we are just under a minute remaining in period number 3. This is what Jay talked about. You see Garaway getting out into the passing lanes a little more. Ayton tries to muscle inside. Clemens with the one-handed tip.
Another offensive rebound. Reading has done a terrific job when they've taken the ball to the basket. If they have missed it, guys come in with their athletic ability and are able to tip it in or get a rebound, sometimes get fouled. They've done a great job with that this afternoon.
And again, Reading able to answer when Garaway gets close. They had it to within 2 in the second quarter, and the Blue Devils put together a run to close out the period. They're trying to do the same thing here. Garaway with a basketball, under half a minute to go, down 4.
Reading coming out a little bit here more on the defensive end, trying to get a turnover. Garaway here going for the last shot.
Offensive rebounding's been a big factor. Another held ball, but the possession arrow favors Garaway. That Eric Clemens tip in a moment ago, the 8th offensive board of the game for Cincinnati Reading. Scott Bardall's team averages 26 boards a game. Rich Bensman's Blue Devils outboard their opponents by 7 per outing at 34-27.
Big momentum play right here. They've cut into the lead 3 points there in the third quarter, knocked it down to 4. But can Garaway get a shot right here and knock it down even closer?
Regular had it knocked away, recovers over Clemens. The tip is up and no good, and that will do it for period number 3. So we are 1 period away from a state championship here in Columbus. Cincinnati Reading with a 4-point lead over Sugar Creek Garaway, 34-30.
In Ohio, there is 1 hour of news that makes a difference. 1 hour of news that gives you more. ONN's Primetime Ohio at 10 o'clock is the one newscast that goes beyond headlines and sound bites to deliver local news that means something to your life. Primetime Ohio at 10 o'clock brings you thoughtful stories, in-depth reports, and your local weather forecast every 10 minutes. One newscast from Ohio's one 24-hour cable news channel. Primetime Ohio at 10 o'clock on ONN. All Ohio, all the time.
The Ohio High School Athletic Association Basketball Championships are brought to you by Grange Insurance, the Ohio Education Association, and and by Columbus State Community College. So much of the focus of this Division III championship game was how the inside game would play out. Jay Burson, Reading has opened up its lead courtesy of the three.
Yeah, we see some three-pointers right here. Reading is 5 for 14 in this game from behind the arc, where Garaway has yet to make a three-pointer. They're 0 for 4.
And John Gertz firing from long range on a couple of those threes. And Tony Pike also knocked down another one for the Blue Devils as we start period number 4, 34-30, Cincinnati Reading over Sugar Creek Garaway. A crowd of 16,696 watching this Division III state championship game. Inside to Aiden, trying to pick up a third foul on Tyler Renner, and we do have a whistle and a foul. This one won't be on Renner, though.
Got to reach in there from the help side.
Ryan Gerber. His second, and the 15 foul against Sugar Creek Garaway. So Reading will inbound it baseline as Loris Barnes went hard slap of the basketball. Backside lob to Clemens, had it but lost it. And ball still being fought for, and a whistle, and Sugar Creek Garaway will come out of this with the basketball as we have a foul called on Cincinnati Reading.
Offensive rebound has been another something that's been big in this game. Reading's got 8 offensive rebounds to only 1 for Garaway. Garaway did a nice job there in the third quarter, getting themselves back in position to be in this game. Down 7.5, now only down 4. Actually now get a chance to go to the free throw line for the 1-on-1.
The foul was on Eric Clemens, his second of the game, and that is the 17th foul. So to the line goes Zach Fanning, 5'11" sophomore.
Well, and after only 1 foul in the first half for Reading, early here in the third quarter, they've just got into their seventh foul.
Zach Fanning, 7 points in the semifinal. Defense is where he hangs his hat for the Garaway Pirates. It's something we take a great deal of pride in at Garaway. Second free throw is good, and it's a 2-point game once again. Reading has led this game since 11-10 at the 1-minute 6-second mark of period number 1, but Garaway's been close to a bucket within a number of possessions, but that's as close as they've been able to get.
And Garaway's been able to get the tempo where they want it. They want to have the score right around the 40, somewhere in that range. That looks like what we're probably hitting for.
Aiden spots up right side and airballs a 3, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Cincinnati Reading. Well, we were talking to Scott Bardall and Rich Bensman both prior to the game, and Jay asked Scott Bardall, where would you like to see this game played point-wise? And he brought up the Georgetown-Villanova game as far as points, that memorable 1984 national championship game. He wants it that kind of pace, and he's getting it right.
Well, and he was downplaying his team. He's out. We don't have the athletes. We're from that little town. We got to take our time. We're fundamentally sound, all the little things like they do. The coaches want to downplay the team, but they played the type of game here this afternoon to give themselves an opportunity to win.
At the line is Ryan Gerber. The free throw is good, and it's a 1-point lead for Cincinnati Reading.
Well, that was the first frustration I've seen out of Reading. They got a little frustrated there about the outside shot, the air ball, and the foul taught themselves a little bit.
And we're tied. First time today this game has been even. 34-34, hand slap of the floor by the Garaway coaching staff for a defensive stop.
I told you we were going to have a good one. Got to see both these teams play on Thursday night. Felt like they were both competitive. And a timeout.
Rich Bensman calls a timeout, a full timeout. 57 seconds into period number 4 with this game now tied at 34. And again, we have our first tie of the game. If you'd like an official OHSAA copy of today's games, visit www.onnnews.com. All the girls and boys state championship final games from the 2003 tournament are available for just $24.95 for VHS, $27.95 for DVD. This is an exclusive offer only from ONN. Get your copy today and relive March Mania, where dreams become championships. 7:03 remaining in a tie game now. Jay Burson 34-all, Cincinnati Reading, Sugar Creek Garaway.
Yeah, terrific game so far. I thought we've seen at times where Reading, we felt like they were going to run away with this thing. Here in the third quarter, they got into a little bit of foul trouble in the third quarter. Now in the fourth quarter, we're in for a dogfight. Both teams are very solid, very sound. Who's going to execute the best here the next 7 minutes is going to get this game.
Rich Bensman, the head coach of Cincinnati Reading, talking about his team prior to this game, saying we've had portions of games this year where we didn't really look exceptionally crisp, but I've always known that a spurt is coming. Well, we'll find out now. 34 all here in this fourth period.
Well, we've seen today why both teams are here. You know, Reading's played a discipline. They've got good guards, very good post play, and Garaway's got very good guards that know how to handle the basketball, not necessarily score, and their post guys are very disciplined, very good inside.
Out of the timeout, Reading with the basketball. 40 Hammersmith. Out high to Loris Barnes. Aiden with the touch. Back out high to Aiden with it. Left side Barnes penetrates into the lane, and a whistle and a foul inside as Barnes went airborne to dump it over to Aiden.
Well, and Garaway's playing a little bit tighter defense. They're coming out on him here in the second half. There in the first half, they were laying back a little bit more, letting them get some open shots. I know Coach Bordeaux, here we see right here, this is what he was afraid of. He was afraid when he came out and guarded guys on the perimeter that they would be athletic enough to get by them. Here in the second half, it has helped them get the momentum a little bit, get a couple turnovers, but we see what can happen when you go out on guys on the perimeter.
Reading to inbound it. John Kurtz sends it over to Aiden. Kurtz has had a big game, knocking down threes for the Blue Devils. Tony Pike on the penetration and off the glass. Check it out, this Nicholas Berger with the penetration. Off the glass, too strong, and Garaway with a chance to take its first lead since the first period on the strength of an 8-2 run.
Yeah, here in the last 2 minutes and 54 seconds, Garaway's really got themselves back in the basketball game, 34-34. And we're going to have this game right in that mid-40s, just like Garaway wanted it.
Out high, regular with it. Over to Nathan Miller. Averages 4 assists per game, does Miller. And now we have a timeout, an official's timeout, as underneath, Tyler Renner had a shoe come untied.
Garaway's done a great job, and I think the coach has done a great job of the guys understanding their roles on this team. The guys know that they're not going to shoot, aren't even looking to shoot. They're looking to get the ball inside where it goes. But I think Reading at times has been so open that the guys felt uncomfortable, almost felt like they had to shoot. So this has been a good competitive basketball game thus far.
Well, John Regular, who has the basketball right now for Garaway, said, hey, if you want to score points or be a star, you need to go to some other school. We don't play that way at Garaway. It's a team effort all the way around.
Well, it's nice to see. They play to win the game. Both teams do that.
Absolutely. Good ball movement. Regular spots up for a three. Renner the one-handed rebound between Aiden and Kurtz and puts Garaway ahead. Tyler Renner. The basket is 14th point of the game, half dozen rebounds, and their first lead since period number 1. Barnes for the tie, even at 36.
Yeah, there's that one-on-one. There's that athletic ability. Took him to the baseline, rose over him, hit a nice shot off the glass.
So we go possession by possession. And here's a steal. Barnes punched it away from Fanning and races him down the floor. The bucket won't roll in. The shot won't roll. And Loris Barnes will head to the free throw line. Good defense out high by Barnes. Punched that ball away, then raced Fanning down the floor.
Well, he's got that quickness. You see it right here. Got a nice steal. Trying to finish it right here. Almost got to three-point play.
Second foul on Zach Fanning. 17 foul on Sugar Creek Garaway. Barnes a 65% free throw shooter. Calmly strokes that one home.
Both teams now for Barnes. Both teams now have turned the ball over 8 times in the first half. Garaway really had turned it over a few more times. So here in the second half, I've been able to handle the ball a lot better until right there.
1 for 2 at the line for Loris Barnes. And the lead at a point for Cincinnati Reading as Nathan Miller walks the basketball up the floor. Gerber being hounded by Berger and a blocking foul on the 6'2" junior, Nicholas Berger, his second personal foul of the game.
They were too aggressive right there. A little bit too aggressive, especially when the team's in the 1-on-1. You give them a chance now to go to the free throw line and get a couple easy baskets. You see it right here. He's strong with the basketball. I like the way he's strong. Good call right there.
Free throw in and out by Gerber. First miss of the game at the line for Sugar Creek Garaway. They were a perfect 6 for 6 prior to that attempt.
Need to make those here down the stretch.
As a team, they shoot 77% of the free throw line. Gertz, who's hit some threes today, off the mark on that one. Barnes strong for the rebound, tumbles to the deck, and a travel is called.
Again, there you see Reading getting on the offensive glass. They've done a terrific job of that. Right here it is. Well, may have been the right call. Guy slipped right underneath him.
We near the 4-minute mark to score in time. Lower right of your screen. Out high, Zach Fanning being hounded by Loris Barnes. Gerber baseline to Miller with it. Inside to Renner, working on Clemens. One ball fake, jumper, and the lead to Garaway.
All right, I was concerned he wasn't going to up his field goal percentage. Now he's right where he needs to be.
Well, that's why he shoots 78% when you get rolls like that. That one somehow found its way down. And the lead back for Garaway at a point. Redding working the basketball around the perimeter. Wirtz will back it out high and reset. 3.5 to go in the Division III state championship game. 1-point lead, Sugar Creek Garaway. Barnes starts his penetration, and Zach Fanning's just having all kinds of problems staying with Loris Barnes right now.
Yeah, he can go one-on-one and can take you off the dribble. Nice move right there. Redding actually had 4 guys in double figures on Thursday night. You can see the different type of game we have here today.
A timeout is called with 3:26 remaining in the game. The Division III state championship, a 1-point lead for the state's top-ranked team. Sugar Creek Garaway 38, Cincinnati Reading 37 in the Division III title game.
We are back, and boy, is it tense. I am in the middle of the Sugar Creek Garaway fan club, and I have found probably the biggest fan there is, the coach's wife, Trish Bardall. It's a real nail-biter, and now you're ahead, but it's been like this for you in the whole tournament.
Since districts, we've had these kind of games. I'm just asking for one more answered prayer.
You are just up cheering. It has been tense. How was Scott before the game?
Scott was real calm, probably the calmest since he's left to come down here.
So Scott is calm, but I don't think he's calm anymore.
Probably not right now.
Garaway with a 1-point lead. We'll see how it turns out. We'll stay here and cheer with Trish and the rest of the fans. Let's go back to Marty and Jay.
Well, Scott was powering down that water a moment ago, wasn't he?
When he came in Thursday after the game, he was sweating, rolling up. He was hyperactive. We were trying to tell him to wipe some stuff off his face. I'm married and everything else. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Gives you kind of that Gary Williams type of attitude, feisty.
2 free throws by Loris Barnes put Cincinnati Reading back on top, 39-38. 4th lead change in the 4th quarter of this game. 7 total in this contest. Just what you'd hope for in a state championship game. Fanning with it out high, tries to lob it inside for Renner. Good hustle by Berger trying to save it back in, but it goes to Garaway.
Both teams talked about the discipline of their teams and the character of their teams. We're going to find out here the last 3 minutes which team has the most and which team's going to dig deep and get this victory.
And again, we're in that section of the game that Reading has taken control of in the prior 3 quarters. Fanning with it out high, right side Regula. 39 Reading, 38 Sugar Creek Garaway.
Somehow I knew Garaway was going to take their time on this possession.
And they try to bounce it inside to Renner, and Fanning bounced it right by him and out of bounds.
Tried to get it inside. Tough look. We haven't seen that much here the second half. That's what's been able to get them back in the game, not turning the basketball over.
Garaway extends some pressure on the inbound, but they drop back.
Here's the trap here at half court.
Barnes on the right wing has been a big spark off the bench today. Wirtz thought momentarily about airborning a 3. Berger will take it and missed it. Bounce pass across the baseline to Aiden, and he'll back it out high. Wirtz fires underneath now for Berger, who ran the baseline and reverses it in.
Nice look inside. Gave him a little bit of their own medicine right there. Garaway. Redding did a nice job of the cutter.
41-38 is the lead for Cincinnati Reading. Out high Miller for the first made 3 of the day for Garaway. No good, and 8 in the rebound. Garaway now 0 for 6 from behind the 3-point line. They push it ahead quickly to Clemens with it. Being hounded by Regula and Nathan Miller. 95 seconds left in the championship game.
We talk about execution at the end of the game. Redding got a rebound on the offensive rebound on the last possession, then was able to get an easy basket.
Here's Aiden on the baseline and muscles one in. Had to hustle to recover that pass. And his basket gives the Reading Blue Devils a 5-point lead at 43-38 and a Garaway timeout. Derek Aiden's had a big game today for Cincinnati Reading. And an earlier drive to the basket is our Central Hummer drive to the hoop. just lowered his shoulder and glided in and scored one of the 12 points that Derek Aiden has scored today. That's this game's Central Hummer drive to the hoop. Sugar Creek Garaway down by 5 right now. Jay, 1:17 left in the game.
Yeah, we talked about it. You got to be able to execute. I was a little disappointed right there in Garaway selling for that quick three-pointer. They haven't done that all game. They've run through their offense trying to get the ball into the post first. Redding's done a nice job here in the last couple possessions of making some nice passes inside.
There is still more high school basketball championship coming up here on the Ohio News Network. Stay tuned for the Division II final coming up at 5 o'clock today. Tim Bray and Ronnie Stokes will describe a game that involves a guy by the name of James. Akron St. Vincent St. Mary takes on Kettering Alder in the Division II state championship game. 5 o'clock is tip time right here on the Ohio News Network. They had a single game record crowd of 18,409 here at the Value City Arena Friday morning for the semifinal for Akron St. Vincent St. Mary and Canton South. And they are expecting, no doubt, a crowd in that neighborhood for the championship game at 5 o'clock. Had all the parking lots full around the Value City Arena. Nobody can find a space.
Well, and Garaway finds himself down 5 points right here. Redding's on a 9-2 run here the last 3.5 minutes.
Regular spots up for a three. Hit two in the semis and knocks down the first made three of the game for Garaway in an immediate timeout.
Great shot right there. They came down. That's why you call timeout. Come out of the timeout, get the shot that they want. They got 3 guys that they really want to be able to shoot the ball, and we saw it right there. One of their big seniors stepped up and hit a big three-pointer for him.
John Regular's a 30% three-point shooter. We told you earlier, coming into the semis, he made just 8 threes. He's got 3 now in the last game and a half, and a huge one right there for Sugar Creek Garaway. Derek Aiden is this game's Grange Insurance most valuable player from Cincinnati Redding. Aiden, the junior today, 12 points, 7 rebounds for Aiden. There you see his line score today, 5 of 12 from the field. Some strong drives to the basket, the little crossover and the leaner in the lane. Derek Aiden is the Grange Insurance most valuable player. Grange is proud to make a $500 donation in the name of Derek Aiden to Cincinnati Redding High School's General Scholarship Fund.
And Garaway now comes out in a full court press. We haven't seen this all game.
We near the minute mark, 2-point lead for Redding, and Tyler Renner fouls John Gertz on the inbound. That's the 8th team foul against Garaway, and for Tyler Renner, that's his 3rd personal foul. And going to the line will be John Gertz, who's a 62% free throw shooter.
Well, for both teams, this is going to be the last 1-on-1. From now on, to go to 2 shots. But big free throws, we talk about it a lot. In close games, you got to execute. You got to make free throws down the stretch if you want to win.
First free throw of the game for Gertz. And the rebound pulled down by John Regular. As he tumbled to the deck, he shoveled it over to Tyler Renner. And Garaway can't tie or take the lead this trip down. Under a minute left in the Division III state championship game. 2-point lead for Cincinnati Redding over the state's top-ranked team, Sugar Creek Garaway. Renner for the tie, blocked from behind, and a jump ball is called. The
nice
possession
block.
arrow favors Garaway.
Nice block, great move right there by Renner. Got position again, held his position. Clemens with a nice block from behind. Here we see it right here. I believe it was all ball.
Garaway with the inbound. Fanning right side. Gerber starts his penetration, turned away. Here's Regula for the tie. And Barnes pulls down the rebound, and he's fouled in the backcourt.
Regular with a nice drive in the lane. Went up for the shot, seemed to be pretty open. Actually could have maybe even kicked that one out for a little more open shot. But a good play, good drive, just missed a shot.
The foul on John Regular of Sugar Creek Garaway, his first, and the 10th team foul. So Redding shoots the double bonus for however long is left in this game.
You see it right here, low scoring game, as in 86 points. Right now we're at the lowest point total.
Barnes is now 6 of 7 at the free throw line today as he nails the first of the big 2-shot opportunity to put Redding ahead by 3. Garaway as a team hits 37% of their 3-point shots, and they've had little success behind the arc today at 1 of 7. The timeout.
We've still got some basketball to play here. The fans have gotten into this game, we've gotten excited. We've still got 30 seconds to play here, some execution to take over.
This may be one of those games you might want to watch again, and you know what? You'll get a chance to do it right here. March Mania all over again. Catch the replays of all 4 of today's boys championship games on O&N tomorrow beginning at 12:30. The Division 4 game will be replayed first, immediately followed by the Divisions 3, 2, and 1 games. It's March Mania on the Ohio News Network, where dreams become championships.
This has been a terrific game as far as true basketball, kind of old school basketball. Guys got to work on every possession. I think a lot of times nowadays you see guys run up and down and they take rests on certain possessions, don't play defense, don't play offense. When you don't score this many points and there's not this many opportunities, you really need to be able to concentrate on every possession of the basketball. And both teams have done a pretty good job here today.
Cincinnati Reading 11 of 14 as a team at the line. Loris Barnes has done the most damage, 6 of 7 at the stripe. This for a 4-point lead, 45-41 Cincinnati Reading. Nathan Miller pushes ahead for Garaway. Fanning with it. Here's Renner out high. Jump shot, airborne. Tyler Renner brings Garaway back to within a bucket. Tyler Renner's jump shot makes it 45-43. And again, a timeout.
Kids need to learn from him. Kids needs to learn from him how he was under control. He took a nice move, went up on his shot, and shot it in under control. Nice touch. You can see it right here. Pump fake, kind of. Takes one dribble, gathers himself, and drills it. Here it is again. Good footwork for a big fella. That's one thing that has to happen, too. You have to have that good, quick footwork. Gets it down, nice shot, gets timeout.
Tyler Renner, 9 of 11 from the field today. 20 points and 7 rebounds. Let's reset this game for you with 19 seconds left. Cincinnati Reading has 4 total timeouts, 2 each, 2 fulls and 2 30s remaining. Garaway is out of timeouts. Team fouls, Garaway with 10, Reading with 9. The possession arrow favors Cincinnati Reading.
Right here for Garaway, they're going to probably come out in that full court press again. Try to get the steal on the inbounds pass. If they don't, then they're going to foul. Force Reading to beat them from the free throw line. Try to keep some time on the clock so they have an opportunity.
Reading to inbound it. Berger looks to trigger it in. Over to Aiden, who gets bumped forcefully by Tyler Renner. There was nothing malicious about that at all. Renner was simply going for the basketball. Bumped into Tyler Renner, or bumped into Derek Aiden rather than Renner, and that for Renner, that's his 4th personal foul. That'll put Derek Aiden at the free throw line. He's a 53% free throw shooter.
Yeah, you would think he's got a nice stroke. You think he'd be a little bit better than that. Did a nice job right there of getting open, getting the ball, and getting fouled.
Today, though, he's perfect at the line, 2 for 2. And big toss is coming up here. Nods his head in agreement with everyone else. He knew it was good when it left his hand.
Making the free throws down the stretch has been big right here. 13 for 16 for the game for Reading and 6 for 7 for Garaway. Both teams knocking them down here in the game.
And to make it a 2-possession game. No good. Renner the rebound. 46-43 is the Reading advantage. Fanning spots for a 3. Airballed it. Gerber on the baseline, and he's fouled. The sophomore Fanning spotted and launched and airballed it, but fortunately for Garaway, Gerber was in the right spot to collect the miss, and he'll go to the line.
That's one of the problems when you don't shoot much all game. You pass and do a great job of handling the basketball. At the end of the game, when you're asked to shoot one of your first couple shots, it can be tough to make it. You can see it right here. He's wide open, gets a good look, good backside rebound.
At the line is Ryan Gerber, a 75% free throw shooter, and he knocks down the first one. A 2-point game at 46-44. Gerber 6 of 7, or Garaway rather, 7 of 8 at the line now. The back end, no good. Aiden had a hand on the loose ball, and it goes out of bounds. And the officials say it was last touched by Sugar Creek Garaway.
I think we got a foul here.
We do. We have a foul.
That was tough there. That could have been called out of bounds on Aiden, but they saw the foul from behind.
John Regula, Jay, was hit with a personal foul. So back to the line goes Derek Aiden.
We're showing some of the coaches, very good coaches. These guys have been fun to work with, fun to talk.
The team numbers at the line in the 4th period for Reading, 6 of 9. Aiden looks to increase on that number.
Knocks the first one down. Right here is big again. Trying to get it into a 2-possession game right here.
Aiden now with 14 points. Bit of a smile on his face as he goes back to the line. He might be the calmest guy in the house.
Got it.
4-point lead for Cincinnati Reading at 48-44, and Reading uses a full timeout. Again, Garaway is out of timeouts. And 10 seconds remains in this Division III state championship game.
Yeah, very good game. Again, competitive. Both coaches have been able to keep their teams relaxed in this basketball game. Right now, we'll see it. Garaway needs to try to get the length of the floor. As you mentioned, do not have any timeouts. Need to try to knock down a shot. May not need to go for the three-pointer quite yet. You got to explore inside. If they cover you, then maybe kick it back out and try to get the press right on them real quick. If they can't get the turnover, then you got to foul them.
Hey, you have to get the shot up quickly, but it has to be a good shot. Yeah. You can rush and be in a hurry, but you have to get a good shot up.
Yeah, a lot of times you see guys come down and just settle for whatever, trying to rush it up. There's still a little bit of time. 11 seconds left. They need to get the ball in. My opinion, explore inside the lane. Try to take it to the basket. Force them to see if they can foul. And then if they do, then you kick it back out for the open shooter.
And as Jay mentioned, right around 11 seconds remaining, 10.9 to be exact. Derek Aiden's had a big game today. And again, that bit of a smile on his face, nodding knowingly to the Reading fans, as if to tell them, hey, folks, hang on, we're going to bring you a state championship. Inbounds goes to Renner. Continues ahead, glides in on Clemens, who blocked the shot out of bounds. And off of Renner. And that looks to have sealed the deal for Cincinnati Reading.
I like the play, though. He took it at him. Right here, took it at him, forced him to make a block. Could have been maybe called a foul. Pretty good shot, pretty good block right there.
Long lead feed to Aiden, who lays it up, and Cincinnati Reading is the Division III state champion.
Well, they're excited. They're happy. They played a good game. Garaway got them to play their style of game, but Reading was able to get enough here today out of their team. The coach talked about his team and the never quit, the fundamentals. They did it today.
50-44 is the final score. Cincinnati Reading wins the state championship, knocking off top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway in the title game, snapping the 26-game winning streak by Garaway. Cincinnati Reading is a state champion. Cincinnati Reading has captured the Division III state championship, beating top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway 50-44. Courtside now, Doug Lascelles and Dave Cicutti.
Thanks a lot, Marty, and we are indeed joined by former Ohio State assistant coach Dave Cicutti, and a big win for Cincinnati Reading, 50-44 over the Sugar Creek Garaway Pirates, who put up a tremendous fight at the end.
They did, and that's exactly what you expect in a championship game, Doug. It was a good close finish, but I think in the third quarter, Reading really got things under control at the defensive end. And I think that was the key. They got a couple key turnovers, created some opportunities at the offensive end. Garaway is a great defensive team, Doug, but remember, they came into this tournament, out of the 16 teams, they only gave up about 34 points a game, and today they gave up 50. Might have been the difference in the ballgame.
The state runners-up, the Garaway Pirates, receiving their runner-up medals. And what a gutty effort by the Garaway Pirates, who came back in this game. They were down 30-22 early in the second half, came back, took a 2-point lead, 39-37. And then, obviously, Reading hitting some key free throws down the stretch. John Regula, you see him coming out here. He had 11 points. They're going to save the best for last. The Division III Co-Player of the Year, Tyler Renner, 9 for 11 for 20 points. And Dave, he almost single-handedly got Garaway back in and winning this game.
Absolutely, Doug. And, you know, it's a great battle between him and Clemens. I think, especially at the defensive end, I think Clemens took it upon himself that he had to make some kind of great defensive stand against Renner. And Renner, of course, is a great basketball player, but Clemens and him went at it all day long.
Eric Clemens had only one block the entire game after 7 in the semifinal, but it was against Tyler Renner right at the end of the game. They are introducing the assistant coaches, and in just a moment, Ohio High School Athletic Association Assistant Commissioner Dr. Deborah Moore will award the second-place trophy to the Garaway Pirates, who lost their first game of the season in 5 overtimes. then won 26 straight, got here to the state championship game, and Dave fell just short.
You know, and it's tough because you lose that first game, and of course they all have hopes of trying to get to this position, and they're going to end it on a bad note. But I'll tell you what, an outstanding year for a great basketball team.
And the head coach coming up to receive his trophy, Scott Bartle. And again, it will be Dr. Deborah Moore awarding the second place trophy to the Sugar Creek Garaway Pirates.
Will now present the 2003 State Division III runner-up trophy.
Coach Bartle and the outstanding athletes from Garaway High School, what a great season you've had, and you competed very well today, gentlemen. I want you to look up there and see all of those friends and family and fans that have followed you all season. And gentlemen, if they could say one thing to you, they would tell you that they are proud of the way that you've represented Garaway High School today. First time in your school's history playing in this final game. And gentlemen, it's indeed an honor to be able to present to Garaway High School the 2003 Division III runner-up trophy. Congratulations, gentlemen.
And there you have it. Very warranted cheers from the crowd here for your Division III state runners-up. The Sugar Creek Garaway Pirates falling just short 50-44 to the Cincinnati Reading Blue Devils today. Douglas Sells and Dave Sacuti courtside. We're about to introduce our state champions.
And now we honor the team from Reading High School as the 2003 Division III State Championship team. As your name is announced, please come forward to receive an individual award. Loris Barnes. Carl Miller. Rodney Stidham. Mason Smith. Andrew Ramsey. Tony Pike. Jacob Hare. Eddie Wirtz. Jacob Abking. Jeremy Overbeck. Gordon Hammersmith. Nicholas Berter. John Gertz. Derek Aiden.
Derek Aiden with 17 points today for your Division III state champions.
Eric Clemens.
And Eric Clemens with 7 points and a huge block at the end of the game.
Manager Tony Cole.
And as they introduce the managers, we will tell you once again the Cincinnati Reading Blue Devils have won the Division III state championship 50-44 over top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway. Some strong play off the bench, Dave.
Well, it's always important because you got to remember your starters are in there. They're a little tired, so you got to hope you have a couple players. And Reading had that. They had a couple individuals come in and played 18 and 16 minutes and made a big difference. And let's give Reading a lot of credit. Coach Bensman had to make some real big adjustments at the beginning of the year. He had 4 new players that hadn't seen any kind of situation within their program. So he's made that adjustment and got him this far, and to come away with the state championship title is very impressive.
And you will hear our loud cheer from the Reading faithful as the head coach is introduced right after his final assistant coach.
And head coach Rich Bensman.
And once again, Ohio High School Athletic Association Assistant Commissioner Dr. Deborah Moore will present the Division III State Championship Trophy.
Division III State Championship Trophy and game ball.
Reading fans, what do you think about the Blue Devils today? Coach Bensman, I understand your team was unranked coming into this tournament, but here you are playing in the championship team, and you were undefeated in this tournament series, and you have earned the right to be called state champions in Division III. Gentlemen, from Reading High School, I consider it a great privilege to be able to present to you, on behalf of all of our member schools, our commissioner, and our board, the 2003 Division III State Championship Trophy. Congratulations!
And your Division III state champion Cincinnati Reading Blue Devils hoisting the championship trophy. They refused to lose in this one, Dave Cicutti. Garaway went up 38-37 with about 4 minutes left to go in the game, but Cincinnati hitting some key free throws down the stretch. Your leading scorer, Derek Aiden, the big guy, 17 points, including 2 free throws with just 11 seconds left in the game to put the Blue Devils up 48-44, and they close the door from there.
Usually comes down to free throw shooting, Doug, and a lot of times that's going to determine who's going to win and lose the game. But for Garaway, the one stat that really sticks out is the fact that they only went 1 for 8 from the three-point line. And in the semifinals, they really shot the ball well. So, you know, give Reading some credit from the defensive end. They really put the heat on them at the three-point line, and that could have played a big difference in this ballgame.
And Erica Robbins is standing by with the winning head coach. Erica.
Thanks so much, Doug. I do have Rich Bensman.
Right.
Wow, it was a nail-biter down to the end. Give us your thoughts in those final seconds of play.
Well, you know, the game was going to, I felt the game was going to come down to something like this because they're a well-coached team and they're a well-disciplined team, and they run their break, and they work to get a really great shot for their basketball team, and they keep the tempo low and the scores low. So I figured if we were in a game and it was a low-scoring game, it was going to come down to the last few seconds.
Talk about your kids, those seniors that really laid it on the line.
What great composure, I think. My guys from the start to the finish just completely stayed on the game plan we were looking for. So.
Well, congratulations again to you, Coach. Go celebrate with your team. They have pictures to take. They have nets to cut down. Let's go back to Doug Lascelles on the other sideline.
All right, thank you very much, Erica. And we're going to go to a quick timeout. We'll come back with more of the post-game celebration right after this. And back live at the Schottenstein Center, Doug Lascelles along with former Ohio State assistant coach Dave Cicutti. And Dave, the Cincinnati Reading Blue Devils, they pull it out. This one was scary, came right down to the wire. They win it with free throws down the stretch, and they are the Division III state champions.
Well, we talked about it in our first game this morning, Doug, but when you have veteran players, sometimes it makes a big difference. And I think the veteran players of Cincinnati Reading stepped up at the free throw line, of course, but more importantly, they had great leadership out there. I didn't see Cincinnati Reading, except for maybe a couple minutes in the third quarter, lose their focus. They stayed organized versus the pressure. They executed when they need to execute, and that's what you have to do, and you hope your veterans with good leadership are going to give you that.
All right, and let's send it over to Erica Robbins, who's standing alongside one very happy Blue Devil.
Thanks so much, Doug Lascelles. I found Loris Barnes. He's #1 on his uniform. He's a senior, comes off the bench, and you really got it done defensively. You turned it on against the Pirates. Give us your thoughts after the game.
It just feels so good. We worked so hard all season. We've been talking about it from day one, and we just came in here, knew we are underdogs, but it never stopped us before. We just wanted to work hard, especially on the defense end with the D3 Player of the Year, Renner. We just had to stop him, and we knew we could get it done.
You did an incredible job stopping him. You only had 9 points, but it was the defense that was impressive from you today, Loris. Congratulations on your big win.
Thank you.
Loris Barnes, senior for Reading in Cincinnati, celebrating with his teammates. Let's go back to Jay and Marty at the table.
All right, Eric, and also Loris Barnes also hit some big free throws in this game too, down the stretch to close it out. And I think Dave and Doug talked about it a short time ago, Jay. One of the big numbers was three-point shooting in this game. Garaway unfortunately couldn't find the range today.
Yeah, they sure couldn't, but they did a great job of getting the ball in the basket, getting the ball inside, but today they just couldn't knock any three-point shots down. They also did not do a real good job on the offensive boards.
But they did shoot the ball very well. As we take a look at the numbers in this afternoon's Division III state championship game, they shot a high percentage from the field.
Yeah, 56% from the field to only 42%. And you see right there the three-pointers. A big one, again, was the offensive rebounds. Reading was able to get on the offensive glass and get a lot of extra chances.
All right, again, the final score today, Cincinnati Reading wins the state championship here today, 50-44 over Sugar Creek Garaway. Back courtside to Erica Robbins with our Grange Insurance Most Valuable Player.
Thanks a lot, Marty. He is the Grange Insurance Most Valuable Player. Why? He was the only Reading player in double figures, 17 points from Derek Aiden, and you hit those very important free throws at the end of the game.
You know, we practice free throws every day in practice. We shoot hundreds a day. You know, it was just like any other day in the gym.
And you came away with the nail-biting victory as a senior. It's got to feel pretty darn good.
You know, I just wanted to finish what we started last year. We lost in the regional finals. I know a lot of players that came to see us. They wanted to see us succeed, so we tried to do our best, and we ended up being champions.
And that's your final game as a senior in a high school uniform. Any plans for college?
Tiffin. You know, I'll be going to play basketball most likely. And we'll go from there and see what happens with that.
Well, enjoy the rest of your senior year and take that medal home.
I will.
Enjoy it. Derek Aiden. Let's go back to Doug Lascelles on the other sideline.
All right, thank you very much, Erica. And you see Eric Clemens waiting in line to cut down some of the net. This guy had 7 blocks in the semifinals, 19 points today, just 7 points and 1 block. But as you mentioned, his teammate Derek Aiden came up big. It's a team sport, and I believe, Dave, that Eric is more than happy to sacrifice those stats to get the state championship.
Absolutely. The title and the strands of net that they're cutting down right now are a whole lot more important than this stat sheet right now. And let's talk, I know Eric talked to Loris Barnes, but he had a couple key defensive steals there in the fourth quarter that were critical in this game. It changed the tempo of the game. One of them he converted for a layup. The other one he got fouled on. Changed the complexion of the game. But what they're doing right now is really important. Stats mean nothing. They want a state title, and that's very, very impressive.
And Loris Barnes, obviously 7 for 8 from the free throw line, as we've already mentioned. It was the Cincinnati Reading Blue Devils going 5 of 6 in crunch time from the free throw stripe at the end of the game to really seal the deal, led by Derek Aiden, who, as we mentioned, hit 2 free throws with 11 seconds left in the game. 48-44. Garaway went up, and they go on to win it 50-44. That'll do it for myself and Dave Sacuti. We're going to go back to Marty and Jay, guys.
All right, Doug, Dave, thanks very much. And one of the key areas of this game, Doug and Dave talked about a lot of the numbers as well, too. The final 3 minutes of each quarter of this game, Jay, is where Reading took charge.
Yeah, especially in the fourth quarter. Then they did it all night, and they did it again here in the fourth quarter. 11-6 in that fourth quarter. The last 3 minutes was very important.
And you see some of the nets being cut down here at the Value City Arena. And there's nothing like certainly winning a state championship. And Cincinnati Reading does that here today. Unranked, but they win the state title today, knocking off top-ranked Sugar Creek Garaway. 2 teams had tremendous seasons, Jay.
Yeah, both coaches talked about the quality and the character of these young men. We certainly saw it here today. It came down to the last 3 minutes. The teams being very close, just a little bit of execution. One team, Reading, made a couple more plays, but you got to be proud. You got to be proud of what both teams have accomplished all year long. I'm sure that Garaway's a little disappointed, but they got to be proud to get to this point.
All right, before we wrap things up, let's go back to Erica Robbins.
Thanks, Marty. I have one more senior, Gordon Hammersmith. Tell us your thoughts after your final game, finishing with the best game of the season.
It's unreal. Like, my whole life has been based on basketball ever since I was a little kid, and it's been my dream out in the driveway practicing, and now it's all coming true.
Well, we're glad your dreams came true today, Gordon. Gordon Hammersmith, a senior for Reading. Let's go back to Marty at the table.
All right, Erica, thank you. The Division III game produced today by Brian Johnson, directed by Sam Torrey. Cincinnati Reading wins the Division III state championship here today at the Value City Arena in Columbus. We invite you to join Tim Bray and Ron Stokes for the Division II championship game, which comes up at 5 o'clock today, right after Ohio Today. It's March Mania, where dreams become championships all day long on the Ohio News Network. For my partner, Jay Burson, and our entire Ohio News Network crew, this is Marty Bannis reminding you one more time the final score: Cincinnati Reading 50, Sugar Creek Garaway 44. Jay and I will talk to you later this evening.